Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. Happy Monday. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, for a while it seemed like Governor Kenneth Mapp was going to get the new ceremonial vehicles he wanted, but in a final move by the 31st legislature on Monday, it's definitely not going to happen. Monday's vote against the new cars were led by a lawmaker the governor has butted heads with before. News 2's April Knight has more.
Well, she said she'd do it, and she did. Senator Jeanette Millen-Young followed through on her promise to move for the override of a line-item veto by Governor Kenneth Mapp. That override was successful, so the final word is no new cars for the chief executive and his second in command. A week ago, Governor Kenneth Mapp line-item vetoed legislation that prevented him from purchasing 3 new ceremonial vehicles, altogether valued at more than $300,000. The governor stated that the provision would prevent offices and departments under the governor's office from purchasing much-needed transport. But according to Senator Millen-Young,
however, when the financial team testified here before us, they clearly made the distinction between what quote-unquote ceremonial type cars are and service vehicles. And so it is an overreach to say that should this section be contained in the overall act, he won't be able to order, for example, a fire truck or a police car.
So Governor Mapp's proposal for new limos is definitely out, but the Senate still has to work on amending the language of the bill. That's so they don't make it hard to purchase quote-unquote official vehicles that are considered essential.
Whichever satisfies the members of the body, but I believe there's a distinction between official and ceremonial. And I don't want any of us to be given the impression that we don't want official vehicles to be purchased, because some of us do. At least I do.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
The override of the governor's veto means the bill containing the no ceremonial vehicle provision is now law. Meanwhile, Bill number 31-0279 got support from lawmakers. The bill would amend Title 17, Chapter 2, Section 11 of the VI Code and would provide grief and stress counseling to school counselors. Here are some of the statements of support from lawmakers.
I support this measure. We continue to see where we have a school-to-prison pipeline. I want to see us break that pipeline open, and again, any measure to seek to mitigate that occurrence is worthy of an attempt.
We still feel that many people that we can have give some kind of additional skills to help to accommodate some type of counseling, fine, but let's understand that these counselors cannot do the level of counseling that's needed by those individuals who are clinically trained. We must understand that. This kind of cursory training cannot accommodate clinical training of a real counselor, so be mindful of that. And if we're going to mandate that and require additional skills, let's be willing to pay them that additional monies as well.
In other news, Kenneth Mapp, Public Works Commissioner Gustav James, and key staff spent much of Friday assessing St. John roads in order to determine how best to allocate recent Garvey Bond funding for repairs. Roadways inspected included Cinderline Highway, Bordeaux Mountain Road, Fish Bay Road, and Route 108. The governor said priority would be given to addressing hazardous conditions. The governor's staff has reported toward the shuttered Guy Benjamin School in Coral Bay, where plans are now underway to develop it as a multi-purpose community center. The governor and other cabinet members were on St. John meeting with residents, business people, and the administration's financial team. Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter departed the territory on May 8th to conduct a progressive technology school site visit at the Paul Robeson High School campus in Brooklyn, New York. It's a new approach to learning, bringing together the best elements of high school, college, and career. Students graduate with an industry-recognized associate degree and the skills to succeed in high-growth industries. Can it work in the VI? Well, that's the hope. This will be followed by his attendance at the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, fly-in congressional meeting in Washington, D.C. to present state and territories' insurance-related issues and concerns to members of the U.S. Congress. Senate President Neville James will serve as acting lieutenant governor, and Lieutenant Governor Potter will return to the territory on May 14th. The Commissioner of the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs, Devin Carrington, said, according to reports, certain individuals and or entities have engaged in advertising, buying, selling, and renting of real estate without proper licensure. Title 27, Chapter 15 of the VI Code makes it unlawful for individuals or entities to act as real estate brokers or salesperson within the Virgin Islands without a license from DLCA and authorization from the Real Estate Commission. Further, no entity can be licensed as a real estate broker unless at least one officer of the entity is licensed and authorized as a real estate broker. Additionally, consumers are advised to seek legal assistance when contemplating the purchase or sale of real estate. Well, election reform measures that lawmakers and election officials have been working on for months will not be taking effect in time for the 2016 elections. But lawmakers still tackled these measures on Monday. Most of them, however, were sent back to the committee for further consideration. News 2's April Knight has details.
The Senate started the week by tackling election reform bills on Monday. First up, they overrode the governor's veto of Bill number 31-0264. According to Senator Kenneth Gittens, the intent is to make sure that no elected VI official votes in any other election outside the territory, and that doing so would not only forfeit their office, but also incur a fine. But the rest of the election reform bills were sent back to the Rules Committee. One of them would increase the required number of signatures for nominations, a bill that, according to Senator Positive Nelson, puts candidates like him at a disadvantage.
It's unfair to me, it's inequitable, and I'm either going to have do one of two things. I'm either going to have to grow the ICM party, I'm asking members to sign up now, just in case I have to meet this 100 for this year, or I might have to run as an independent.
And then there's Bill number 31-0267, which would have unified the St. Thomas St. John and the St. Croix election boards into one board. The goal is to achieve more unity and less bickering. Initially, the bill provided for 9 members for the board, and then Senator Kenneth Gittens offered an amendment increasing it to 14.
So set it back to 14 so that St. John can retain its 2 positions on the board.
Some lawmakers, however, were concerned about how the board would break a possible tie. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Specifically, the following bills were sent back to Rules: Bill number 31-0266, 31-0267, 31-0268, and 31-0306. We will keep you updated on their status. Turning to police reports, on Friday, May 6th at roughly 6:36 p.m., officers responded to shots fired in the Bavoni housing community, and that investigation is still ongoing. The first victim was identified as 29-year-old Walter Hill III of Oswald Harris Court, shot in the head and once to the body. The second victim was 23-year-old Shanice Thomas, who was shot in the right arm. The third victim was a 4-year-old minor who was shot in the left arm. Also in the vehicle was a 5-year-old minor who was not injured. Preliminary investigation revealed that the family of 4 was traveling in their vehicle when 2 black males stepped from behind parked cars at the end of Building D and began firing shots into the vehicle, causing the vehicle to get into a car accident, injuring 3 of the 4 passengers. Call 911 if you have any information on this incident, or any of the numbers right there on the screen. Also on Saturday, May 7th at roughly 6:23 p.m., officers were present at the Roy Schneider Regional Medical Center in reference to a gunshot victim. The male victim, who was later identified as 26-year-old Kadeem Barnes, had been shot multiple times above the body. Preliminary investigation revealed that Barnes was shot while outside of a grocery store located in the area of Altona in the vicinity of Wells Guns. This matter will be followed up closely by the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Anyone with information about this crime, please notify Major Crimes at 340-714-9283, extension 5617. The Criminal Investigation Bureau at 714-9807, extension 5556. Crime Stoppers or the Chief's Office at 340-774-2211. With the recent shootings reported, CAPA and the Smith Bay Association are now more than ever pushing the ceasefire plan territory-wide until May 16th. CAPA and Smith Bay Association members say they are mapping out a plan of action. May 13th is the amnesty day to take back illegal guns and other weapons with no questions asked. You can turn to CAPA's Facebook page, which includes a list of outreach programs and mentorship ideas as part of that plan. They say a ceasefire now would give the community time to design an action plan. Those interested can learn more about the program. Call 340-513-4041. Turn our attention overseas. The first American cruise ship to Cuba in more than 50 years returned to Miami Sunday morning with illnesses reported. The Fathom Adonia docked right before 6:30 a.m., ending its historic week-long voyage that brought Americans to Cuba for the first time since the countries reestablished diplomatic relations. The cruise company, Carnival, confirmed that 14 of the ship's 700 passengers were sickened during the much-touted trip. Travelers were warned to use healthy doses of hand sanitizer, and the ship's crew spent the last days of the trip cleaning dining rooms and tables. According to reports, ship captain David Box said the passengers suffered from stomach ailments, possibly suggestive of norovirus. Still, the ship's medical director also blamed norovirus, an easily transmittable infection, in a letter sent to passengers on the trip's final day. Norovirus, as he says, you are now aware, is extremely contagious and easily transmitted from person to person. The company said all 14 sick passengers were treated on the ship and recovered. The Fathom Adonia, after its cleaning, is scheduled to make trips to Cuba every other Sunday. Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. Taking a look at the numbers there, we can see the Dow down 34, NASDAQ and S&P up, NASDAQ 14, S&P up 1. Coming up on News 2, the St. Croix Chamber of Commerce featured another ribbon-cutting ceremony on Friday, the newly opened restaurant at Five Corners. We'll have more. Welcome back. Here's a Zika update. British biotech company Oxitec and the Cayman Islands government announced plans Thursday to release millions of genetically modified mosquitoes in the fight against a species that spreads Zika and other diseases. Deployment of the mosquitoes against the Aedes aegypti species in the Cayman Islands is a major advance for Oxitec, which has promoted the method heavily as an environmentally safe way to combat the vectors of mosquito-borne illnesses. The company has deployed its mosquitoes to fight Zika in Brazil, following initial trials there, and previously conducted tests in the Cayman Islands and Panama. Oxitec and officials in the Florida Keys have proposed testing there as well and are awaiting U.S. regulatory approval. Commissioner nominee Michelle S. Davis announced this morning her decision to donate brand new dental chairs to the St. Thomas East End Medical Clinic and the Frederiksted Health Center. Both the St. Thomas East End Medical Clinic and the Frederiksted Health Center have active dental clinics, and this will put these chairs to work immediately, they said. Senator Kurt Violet, chairman of the Committee on Health and Hospitals, commented, "Congratulations to Commissioner nominee Davis for her wise and swift decision. It is refreshing to see a commissioner who objectively makes decisions that are in the best interest of the healthcare." Executive Director for the Frederiksted Healthcare Clinic, Master Webster, said the donation of the equipment will provide greater access to oral health care on the island of St. Croix. Meanwhile, the East End Medical Center is now on the cutting edge of automated access to patient health information and medical records with the recent installation of a new electronic health records system. The new electronic health record system improves coordination of patient care and revenue management, as well as streamlines provider and patient access to patient medical history. This new system is fully compliant with federal and local electronic health records regulations, following an extensive vendor selection process in 2015 involving over 10 national and international companies vying to develop a healthcare information management system for the health center. Greenway Health LLC was selected as the successful vendor. Staff engaged in a 12-week training session to prepare for the system's go live, and that took place on May 3rd. Well, on Tuesday, May 10th in St. Croix, that's coming up, and Thursday, May 12th in St. Thomas, Commissioner nominee Michelle Davis and the USVI Maternal Child Health and Children with Special Care Needs Program and St. Andrew Development will unveil a new interactive wellness kiosk and tablet program that provides important health information, especially for women. The unveiling will take place at the MCH clinics, respectively. The touchscreen kiosk and tablets provide a wide range of information on healthy eating, as well as cribs for KidSan application that helps every baby sleep safer. The Maternal Child Health and Children with Special Needs Care program has been in the Virgin Islands for over 40 years, and we will keep you updated and have some highlights for you. The St. Croix Chamber of Commerce featured another ribbon-cutting ceremony on Friday. The newly opened restaurant at Five Corners, Unamare. Businesses that are members of the chamber enjoy many benefits, as it provides an opportunity to network with other local business owners, business workshops, and an outlet to publicize events.
And we are also very honored and proud to be part of the Chamber of Commerce. We have always been part of the Chamber as far as all of our businesses go, as well as my nonprofit. I think it's a great way to establish yourself here in St. Croix among other peers and people in the community. So we're thrilled to finally be opening, and also to have our members come in and see what we've been doing here in Five Corners.
And we as a Chamber of Commerce are very thrilled that someone else is taking the leap of faith, bringing great service, great food, great love to our community, and we're happy to support them. They are Chamber of members as well.
And the name of that new restaurant again is Un Amor. A public hearing by the Economic Development Commission, a subsidiary entity of the VIEDA, will be held on Thursday, May 12th at 9 a.m. at Niski Shopping Center, St. Thomas USVI, and via video conference feed to the William Roebuck Industrial Park, Frederick St. Croix, on applications regarding tax exemptions from the following businesses: Liberty Medical Development, LLC, and Territory East Asset Management, LLC. Now, any person, firm, or corporation interested in the approval or disapproval of the application may appear and be heard, provided that a written statement is submitted at least 1 day prior to the hearing to the Chief Executive Officer of the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority. Virgin Islands Montessori School and Peter Gruber International Academy hosted a group of 6 NASA scientists and engineers for a Student Science Day during regular school hours today. Now, they experienced great science and tech courtesy of the NASA guests. Topics covered included environmental engineering, applied physics, medical science, structural engineering, mechanical engineering, software development, and computer science. NASA will also be visiting some schools throughout St. Thomas, including the University of the Virgin Islands, in an effort to share their expertise and opportunities in the science, technology, engineering, and math, the STEM program. Now, earlier this evening, NASA Kennedy Space Center invited the community to hear from them. VI Montessori School, that's taken place, it began at 6 p.m., so it might still be ongoing. Now, over the next few days, there are outreaches planned at Montessori, UVI, UDORICAN, Alla F. Muller Schools, CAHS, and Adelita Cancrine, just to name a few. University of the Virgin Islands alumni and friends are asked to lend support to the annual UVI telephone fundraising drive to support academic scholarships. More than 40 UVI students will organize and execute a call center program on the Albert Sheen campus on St. Croix to solicit donations from peers, alumni, and the public to support UVI student scholarships and university programs. The center will begin that program on Sunday, May 8th, and it runs through Thursday, June 30th. The center will start again on September 1st and run through September 30th. Calls will be made to alumni as far away as Canada, Europe, and the Pacific region. Donations can also be made online at donate.uvi/.edu. You can log on to UVI's website for more information and that link. Many moms, hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. All the moms, mother figures, grandmothers, aunts, everyone's sisters. But many moms were running around this weekend, and they were preparing for Mother's Day. but for a good cause, to benefit the Youth Development Academy. The Super Moms and Family Heroes 5K race for our youth took place at Yacht Haven Grand with an 8 a.m. start and a 3.1 miles of peace and quiet walk or run. Moms and family members dressed up as their favorite superhero. We saw everything from Wonder Woman to Superwoman, everything else. The Darcy J. Foundation's event is a national annual 5K run walk. The hope is to create an empowering, uplifting, and inspirational event that celebrates supermoms everywhere while raising awareness on teen pregnancy, fatherless homes, and single parenthood. Proceeds from this event benefits the Darcy Foundation and BET, a center of Orlando. All ages, genders, and superheroes were welcome. There was also a local beneficiary as well. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.